Hey guys, so I had three ideas for three different stories from three different genres in my head, not knowing which one to start with. And I was so sure I was going to start off with the greatest warlock that ever lived. But Madam Regina's son is just going to have to wait. I changed my mind, not because I think this will be a better story, but I wanted to slow down and take a different turn. I've been writing a lot of mystery, thrillers, horror, and fantasy, and I wanted to go into another direction. I wrote the poem, literally read through the lines, and that's what gave me the inspiration to write this love story. So here it goes. These are the days. Episode 10. What I thought would never happen. Chris is trying to get what happened last night out of his head, his nightmare, and being awakened by Ryan's screams, realizing that he had one too. He smiles at all the kids sitting at a long table in the middle of the cabin. On it's a tray with crayons, colored pencils, paints, and pastels to use for the activity that they were going to do for the day. He decided to use passion as the word of the day for the campers. So then we go back to what happened last night. After the hug, Chris offered to make some tea, thinking that would make him feel a little better. But he declined. He also said that he was just stressed out with his marriage, the kids, and his mother that was trying to come back into his life. He even told Chris they hadn't spoken since he left home. His mother tried reaching out to his wife, Cindy, because his stepdad died. They were only tiny pieces that Ryan was throwing at Chris, but he didn't push. Ryan said thanks for listening, and let's just go to sleep. We have a long day tomorrow. So then it goes back to the cabin and Chris explaining to the campers what passion is. He wanted them all to draw a picture of something that they were passionate about in their lives. He even told them that he would put music on to let that inspire them. While he was explaining this, the door in the cabin opened and Sandy, another counselor, walked in and whispered that Ryan wants him to meet up with him by cabin 2. He tells Sandy that he was in the middle of an activity. She said, "Don't worry, I'll take over." The way she said this was almost like she knew what Ryan was up to. He walked out and pulled out his phone to call his friend Dominic back at home, which was doing HIV testing in a trailer. He told Dominic about the nightmare, the gist of it. He also told him about the hug, that he also had a nightmare, and everything that he told Chris last night. Dominic couldn't believe any of this, but also didn't know how to read through it either. When he was talking, Dominic heard in the background as if he was walking. Oh yeah. And Sandy, the other counselor, walked into my cabin and told me that Ryan wanted to meet up with him by cabin 2. Dominic says, which is what Ian tells him, well, that's where the rowboats are. Getting closer to where he was. He gets off the phone, and of course Dominic says, keep me informed. Something made Chris laugh. It was Dave rowing a boat with kids. It was kind of funny because most of the kids were shouting and screaming while he was on his phone texting or doing God knows what. As he got to the little deck, he saw Ryan asking him what this was all about. He said he felt bad for last night, so he kind of had a surprise. They both walked to the boat and saw a bunch of snacks, candies and chips, things they used to eat when they were kids. When Chris said he was on a diet, he didn't mean that. It was said because he's skeptical about doing this to him. It seems kind of romantic, but it may not be the same way he's interpreting. But he goes anyway. So as Ryan is rowing, there's small talk, completely avoiding the nightmare from last night, which was hard to do for Chris. But he asked him about his wife, what she does, and the kids' life back at home. And then he just asked him, where are you taking us? With a paddle, he shows him the peak that Chad, Brad, and Dave would jump off back in the day. He was taking him there so he can finally do it. Chris kept resisting. Ryan said he would even do it with him. He tried grabbing the paddle out of his hand, tipping the boat over, and having them go under the boat. He even broke it. Chris, frustrated, went to the other side while Ryan just stood in the water. Ryan asked Chris, why are you being like that? While Chris says, get out of the water. They're bickering back and forth. It's very much like a couple, and it's so hard for Chris to comprehend this. There's an abandoned cabin. They run to it, and Ryan takes off his wet shirt, a beautiful body, but Chris resists by saying, I'll go get towels in the bathroom. He realizes his phone is damaged, gets the towels, and comes out, giving one to him and drying himself off. Ryan apologizes, saying he shouldn't have pushed him to do the mountain peak jump, but it's more than just that. Ryan wants to know if Chris has those feelings because he wants to shut it down or let him down easy, or that's what he tells himself. So, the end of this episode is where Ryan asks him what the nightmare was all about the night before, and Chris says, "You first." Stay tuned for the next episode.